Boatworks today is sponsored by Total Boat and Alexseal Yacht Coatings, as well as supported by the generosity from the beautiful folks over on Patreon. Thank you so much. So welcome back, everybody. Hope you are all having a fantastic week. My name is Andy with Boatworks today. In this video, we have an awful lot to cover. Now, as you know, I'm in the middle of trying to get a new shop up and running, and one of those first hurdles that I had to really overcome was getting utilities, meaning electric and gas, run up to the new shop, which is about 600 feet from where all this stuff needs to originate from. So as you can imagine, I was pretty fired up when I started hearing some commotion down at the end of this access road, walking down, and well, to see a big old lineup or a convoy of Alexseal Energy equipment. Now, as much as I would love to be able to say that this process went off without a hitch and there were no hangups, well, that'd pretty much be a liar, pants on fire. But we did eventually get it all sorted out. Eventually. So the original plan going into this was that they were going to be using a boring machine for running the electric. Now, we've all seen these machines on the side of the road, and to be honest, I never really understood how they worked. And even right now, I still don't understand how they work because, well, that plan didn't exactly pan out. They ended up running into boulders roughly the size of a house, and their drill just couldn't get through it. So plan B, as you can see here, is to, well, break out the big old jackhammer. So rather than being able to basically run a pipe underground without having to dig everything up, now they got to bust everything apart, trench it, and then come back and backfill. So to put things into perspective here, this is actually day 2. The first day with the boring machine, they were able to get under the road for running the gas line. But then beyond that, they were able to get, I think they said about 10 more feet up this access road. Now, here on day 2, after they switched gears and started, breaking everything apart and trenching, they made it pretty much up to the top of the hill, which is a hell of a lot further than what they were able to do the first day. And this all raises an obvious question for me, because as of right now, the only line that they're running is just the gas line. So I was talking with the foreman there, and I'm like, are you able to drop both lines here in the same trench? Because you're going to be coming back here again in another week or so to do this all over again, and then you're going to have to, drop in the electric. He kind of thought about it, and he's like, let me make some phone calls. So fast forward to the end of day 3. Now I've been gone all day. I have no idea what was actually able to be done. Now I did notice that they've got the trench pretty much all the way run up to the shop here, but what I have not yet looked at is to see what's actually down inside the trench. Now granted, I'm no expert here, but just the fact that I'm seeing 2 lines instead of 1, well, that's got to be a good thing. So I mean, just the fact that they were able to drop both the electric and the gas all in this in this run here, that right there just put me 2 weeks ahead of schedule, or well, at least 2 weeks ahead of what would have been my schedule. I need it. I'll take it. And by the end of day 4, they are done. All the lines are in place. They got the pad set down for the transformer, and they even have the gas run to the back of the building with the little meter regulator thingamabobber mounted to the side of the building. So now at this point, it's going to be on me to get my shit done, because the next thing I've got to do is, well, I've got to get the socket meter and the distribution panel in place before they can come back and do the final hookups so that I can actually juice up the building. Now, in the past weeks, I've talked about getting these panels installed and inspected and approved and everything. That was something that I wasn't real quite sure how I was going to navigate. Well, as it turns out, sometimes it's just better to be lucky. So over the past couple of weeks, I've been trying to get to know my neighbors, and well, at least up to this point, I've only actually been able to meet one. But as it turns out, he's a very handy guy, and while he's technically not a licensed electrician, to be perfectly honest, he might as well be. So talked with him a little bit, we exchanged some emails and that kind of thing. Got together on I don't remember if it was a Friday or Saturday afternoon, but basically we got this knocked out in about 4 hours, give or take. I was digging holes and he was doing the heavy lifting, so I'm sure he wouldn't want me mentioning his name here, so I'll use an alias. So anyways, I just want to say a special thank you to, what should I use here? Dave. Yeah, we'll run with that one. So here we are Monday morning. Now this is actually going to be a pretty big week. Today, at least this afternoon, the tree guys are scheduled to be coming in. They're going to take out a bunch of these larger trees that are a little bit closer to the building, do some site prep for where we're going to be putting on the addition. Now, before they come in and do their rip and tear, I wanted to kind of do a quick little pan around here, just kind of get a before pictures, and then after this is all said and done, then we'll compare this to the afterwards. So right on time, the crew showed up, and I'll tell you what, they are a well-tuned machine. I ended up going with Jake's Tree Removal, and they're out of Marinesco, Michigan. A little bit of a drive, but I'll tell you what, everything that I found about them online was just absolutely nothing short of just awesomeness. So let's cue up a little montage and watch these guys do their thing. So after about maybe 4.5 hours, this is pretty much where things are at. They got all of the trees down except for one. They said they're going to come back and take care of that one first thing in the morning. But this is my pile of saw logs. This is what I'm going to have turned into lumber. Now remember, this is all red oak. Most of this stuff is probably a 16, 18-ish, give or take, inch diameter. If I can find someone fairly local here with a portable mill, I'd like to have... there's one thing I love about oak. It's got to be quarter sawn, all right? Regular flat sawn oak is just not my thing. I don't like the big cathedral grain pattern. But when it's quarter sawn, absolutely gorgeous. Now, this is how they left the site that night. I was very impressed. I mean, they were out there with rakes and little air packs for blowing everything off. There isn't a twig anywhere on the ground. They've left their brush piles, obviously. The brush truck has got to come back and clean that up. But everything is tidy, it's piled up nice and neat, and it's clean. It's just extremely clean. I mean, when comparing this to the mess that was out here when they were still working, amazing. Absolutely amazing. Again, if you're in northern Wisconsin, northern Michigan area, and you're looking for a tree service, you seriously got to give these guys a call. Jake's Tree Removal, I think is what he goes by. So this is the following morning. It's already about 8 o'clock, and the guys have been in and out already. Now, the last tree that they had to take down was on the top of this stump. Now, this stump was basically a double trunk. Try saying that 5 times. And I asked them to cut it up high, because this stump that they left here, it's about 6 feet tall. And what I'm going to have done, or what I'm hoping to be able to have done, is have this cut off at ground level. And then if I can find a mill that'll accommodate this width, this is probably 3.5, maybe a little bit more feet wide. I want to have this thing completely slabbed off. I'm guessing the grain pattern on here is going to be a little bit on the wild side, which would make for some very, very interesting tabletops. Live edge, even if I end up trimming it off, I have a feeling that the grain pattern on here is going to be extremely unique, and it's going to make some awesome tables, for something. So it's still the same afternoon, just a couple hours later, and I gotta say, the way this looks right now, I think this looks absolutely amazing. Now, in total, I think the brush truck had to make 3 or maybe even 4 trips, and there's still a few stumps here that I have to come back and pick those out, and well, obviously the dozer is still here as well. But overall, I mean, looking at this, I think this is absolutely amazing. What I suspect is going to happen that on Monday, the brush truck is going to come back. They're going to pick up these stumps, drop them, roll them around. You know, there's still a lot of dirt trapped in that root system. So they're going to dump off whatever they can. And then the dozer will do the final grading and smoothing out, and I think at this point the job will be done. Now at some point over between now and what I told them before the snow flies, I do want them to come back and cut off that one double stump that I'm hoping to be able to slab off. So I have no doubt they'll be able to take care of that in time, and then either this fall or maybe even in the springtime I'm going to have these saw logs then milled up and turn into, well, as much usable lumber as I can get out of them. So just for reference, I mean, here's the before pictures. Now, in total, I think they were here roughly 2 days. Each day was a half day. So the first day is when they did basically 99% of all the cutting, and then they did their cleanup. And then on the second day, which was today, that's when they did the stumping and a lot of the leveling and smoothing and that kind of thing. Now, I'm going to be honest. When I was first talking with Jake when we were trying to get an estimate put together here, I thought for sure this was going to be probably about a 2-day job. He's like, no, it'll be about 1. I'm thinking, yeah, okay, well, bullshit on that one. But here we are. It's been roughly 8 hours, and they are pretty much done. They've got maybe another hour of dinking around, with these stumps to kind of pound the extra sand on and stuff out of them, do a final leveling, and then load up, and then they're gone down the road to the next job. Now, as far as what my next steps are going to be, well, the electric or the panel install, that's already been inspected and approved and sent over to Alexseal, and so now I'm officially on their calendar to have the final hookups, made up to the building here. So that'll be one of the big hurdles. I've also met with a concrete guy, and I'm waiting to get some numbers back from him. I've also met with a potential builder. We're at that time of year, basically, I don't know if it's like this everywhere in the country, but at least around here, builders are very, very hard to come by right now because everybody's so booked. But I would say as far as what the possible chances of actually being able to have the addition put up yet this year, maybe 15-20% possibility. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not going to be holding my breath on it. At the very base minimum, I will be happy if we can get the slab poured so that come springtime, everything will be ready to go and already have the builder and everything already lined up and ready to rock and roll. But I'm not going to lie, having that addition in place for this winter would be awesome. And on that note, I think I'm going to wrap up this video. So as always, I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, please hit that thumbs up button. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button and notification bell. Thank you in advance. I really, really appreciate that. If you have any questions, comments, feel free to leave those down below. I'll do my best to get back with you. And as always, thank you for your time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.
This has been a Boatworks Today production.